Hi, I'm April.
And I'm Bayleigh.
We are real-life friends and neighbors.
Together we run a business called Passionist Designs.
Our favorite part of our job is being in people's homes and hearing their stories. As we became inspired by these stories, we wanted to share them with others. That's where the Nestled podcast was born.
So join us each week as we are encouraged to pursue our own design decisions based on what we love instead of what fills our Instagram feed. Every home has a story, and we can't wait to hear yours.
Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day.
We love you guys.
Yep.
We're so glad to be back this week.
Yeah, we're tired.
We're really tired.
We are editing this on Tuesday night, Fat Tuesday at 11:40 p.m. So
Yep, trying to get it to you by midnight.
yeah. Well, you're going to see how that works. We've hit a few snags, but we are here.
Snags in the road.
But we're still thankful this week.
We
so,
are.
What are you thankful for, April?
This week I am thankful that my kids are out of school all week, and it's been a really sweet time. My big kids, I don't get a lot of time with just me and them, and my sweet Elijah, he's been snuggling up with me a lot, and it's just been a good...
That's our 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So you don't always get those snuggles anymore.
No,
nice. And
one day he's going to kiss another girl on the cheek, and so I'm just really thankful. I'm just really thankful for that.
Yes.
What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful that I also have my whole family home this week because my husband teaches, and so he was able to corral the kids long enough for me to spend an entire day cleaning out the playroom, and it's so nice.
Dana would be so proud.
Dana would be so proud because I got rid of a lot of things, and my kids are so happy about it. Yes, my kids are thrilled. There were things that I would say, is it okay if I get rid of this? Thinking I was going to have to talk them into it. And they were into it. They were like, let it go. And so they're now 3 different times in just a few days, they've had to clean it up, but they're able to clean it up.
Right.
So it's really nice. Also, if you're local, Alabama Baptist Children's Home is having a rummage sale.
It's a great time to get rid of things.
It's a good time to get rid of things. And if you need to know where, when you can drop that off and where, you can message us and we'll get you that information.
Yes.
So all the toys go into the rummage sale, and
Perfect
I'm happy to see it go.
To let it go. So if you follow us on Instagram, you've probably noticed that there's been
nothing
this week.
We posted nothing.
What we know about ourselves is that we're not good at balancing all the things.
No, we're not. We don't even pretend.
We don't even try to pretend that we're good at balancing things. But when we're working a lot of like real
jobs that pay us,
right?
Unlike Instagram and this podcast,
right? Then the other seems to like just kind of go by the wayside. So we're sorry about that. We try. We really do try.
So what we need whenever we're working is someone who will like follow us around and take photos,
right,
and videos of us. So
if you are in the market for a freelance type photographer, videographer, and emphasis on the free because
we have no money, like hit us up because we need a social media manager.
Yeah. And we will also maybe throw in a little bit of babysitting.
Yeah, you can also babysit our children. They're really cute.
Speaking of babysitting our children.
So I'll take this one since it's my kid that was being awful. On this episode of the podcast, you're going to hear a lot of noise. And I mean a lot. You hear my dog. You're going to hear my baby. She just wants it on the girl time.
She loves girl talk so much.
She just really does. That's what it comes down to. Is she's wanting to talk with us. And me and April both were like sticking a bottle in her mouth the entire time. And she didn't want the bottle. So
we apologize.
We are sorry. We are going to have a babysitter from now on because she's almost 6 months old. She's 6 months old this week. So I've accepted that I can no longer call her a newborn and keep her by my side all the time.
She's got to go.
She's got to go. And Miss Shirley, if you're listening to this, you're the babysitter.
So we hope to come with a clearer sound next week.
Yes, and we apologize. Hang in there with us this one last week. And, yeah.
And if anyone wants a schnauzer.
He's in the market for a new home.
Just kidding. Please do not call.
Don't call all of the dog people on us. He's well taken care of, but also
he barks every time.
And whether he's outside or inside, you can hear it. So I don't know what to do about that outside of, I don't know.
Yeah. But we're going to have a great interview with someone today.
Yes. Okay. So who we were able to talk to, it's Rachel Baxter. She's on Instagram as Make Something Beautiful. She has a really interesting take on how she's pursuing being pro-life. And so we're excited for you guys to hear that and maybe take away some ideas of how you can kind of dig into that community. So here's Rachel Baxter. Hey, Rachel. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're good.
Doing well. Good to have you with us today.
Can you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself and your family?
Yes, I can. I'm Rachel Baxter. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, technically Matthews. It's a suburb, and I have 6 children. I'm married to a pastor who's an assistant pastor at a church here. We have 2 children with special needs that have Down syndrome, and one who we adopted from China about 1.5 years ago, and a new puppy recently, a Labradoodle.
Oh, wow. So the puppy thing, April and I both have dogs, and they're our dogs, so we can't get rid of them. But with a lot of children, dogs are a whole thing, aren't they? I mean.
Yeah. We have debated for a decade.
Yeah.
We were finally like, you know what? I think we could do it. And then, once you're in it, you're like,
you're in it. Yeah.
Oh gosh, why did I do this?
Because
I love this thing, and it's so hard.
It's so hard.
Well, and the other side of it is you kind of get the baby itch, but then a puppy requires all the things that a baby do, but with no maternal instinct towards them.
Right.
Yep, absolutely.
So, good for you, Rachel.
Yeah, I'm very impressed.
We're doing it for the kids. It's all for them.
Yeah, right.
Love them too.
So they should get up in the middle of the night with the puppy.
Yes. Luckily, our dog, he potty trained in the night super fast.
Oh,
so that was
great.
2 weeks, and he stopped needing to go out in the middle of the night. So
That's awesome.
That was pretty awesome. Yeah.
So you have a new venture going on right now that we have seen a little bit about, called It Takes a Village. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I am a part of an organization called Young Lives. And a lot of people are familiar with Young Life.
Yes.
It's a Christian organization that goes into the high schools. It's evangelistic and mentorship type ministry. Well, there's a branch of it called Young Lives that specifically is for teen moms and their babies. Mm. And it's been around apparently for 30 years, but in very few cities.
Okay.
But recently, they've started, the interest has been really high for volunteers, and so people are starting them in their cities kind of all around. And so last spring, we started Young Lives here in Charlotte. Young Life has been here for 60 years, but they have not had Young Lives. So what that means is we reach out to teen moms in the high schools in the city and set up kind of a mentorship with them. So I have 2 girls that I'm mentoring. We take them to summer camp and weekend-long winter camp. They're Young Life camps, so they're don't think camp, think resort. Super nice. Their babies get to go with them. And then throughout the year, we have a monthly meeting, Bible study, and then about once a week, I try to get with my girls and spend time with them. They either come over for dinner to my house or we meet up somewhere, and if things are really busy, we'll just do a phone call. So,
wow,
but yeah, so It Takes the Village was our shirt that just sold. So we sold so many shirts. It was awesome, and raised all the money for us to get a summer camp and winter camp. So that was pretty cool.
That is really cool. One thing that I love about that, and I don't want to get too political, but I think a lot of people say they're pro-life, but really they're anti-abortion. Mm-hmm. And so I always try and encourage people to okay, if you're pro-life, then what are you doing for these moms who choose life? And so what y'all are doing is awesome because you're actually doing that,
Yeah, we have a Young Life locally, and I mean, Young Life, and I've never heard of Young Lives. Mm-hmm. I love that, the whole thought behind it.
Yeah, me too.
That is incredible, and how neat of an organization for the church to come alongside.
Yeah, it is. It's been really a special thing to be a part of. I actually have a heart for, just vulnerable children and working with vulnerable children. That's part of why we adopted. And so I was looking into foster care, and we actually have too many children for the state of North Carolina. And that's kind of what led me down the path of Young Lives, because a demographic that often ends up with their children in foster care are teen parents.
Right.
And so it was a way, I would rather these mommies be supported so that they can raise their children. And, that doesn't always, that can't always work out. But when it can, that's the best thing. And so, and one of the main things, like they say, like the success of someone either as a teen parent or someone coming out of poverty or out of some sort of trauma is mentorship. If they have somebody in their life, one person that they can rely on, like statistically improves their chance of success in life, like dramatically. So, so it's been a really special way to kind of live out that pro-life conviction that I have. So.
Right.
Yeah, so fun to have the girls in my home and
let
them join into our chaos with their babies.
Right. My husband and I, we've actually adopted internationally as well, and we have a similar heart as you in that. And I always say, like, I would not trade my daughter for the world, but at the same time, if I could have been there to give her mom the resources that she needed to have been able to hold on to her, I would have in a heartbeat. Like, it really just grieves me anytime I think about that. And so to hear about something like this, like there's no telling how many babies go through that program who will get to stay with their biological families because their moms had the support that, they needed. So I just really, really love that.
Yeah, I love that, and definitely commend you and for getting behind that organization and selling the shirts and all of that to help these girls go to camp and stuff too. How would you encourage people who don't have an organization like that in their city to take in the vulnerable, to love on teen moms in their area? What are some things that you could offer, maybe some advice practically for those people?
Well, sure. Well, one is because Young Life is almost everywhere. You could approach Young Life if you're a Christian background, and you'd like to participate through a Christian organization. Contact your local Young Life and say, "Hey, I'm interested in starting Young Life. Would you guys be interested in that?" That's actually how I've heard lots of these Young Lives are popping up. Another way is almost all school districts have a program for teen moms. So you can call your your local high school or your superintendent office or whatever and say, "Hey, I'm interested in mentoring a teen mom. Is there any sort of program that's going on?" And then kind of go through those lines. And that's actually how our girls found out about our organization. And even though we're a Christian organization, the schools were happy to connect them to us. So you be surprised that they, regardless of faith, people want these girls to be successful and to be able to graduate and all of that. And so they see the value in mentorship. So that is definitely a way. And so I mean, and there's so many creative ways to contribute and help those in your community that are in need. I could go on and on, but specifically with teen moms, that's what I would suggest.
That's awesome. And I love when you were talking about bringing them into your home and into your chaos and letting them be a part of your family and your kids. And we love that. We love that you're inviting people into your home. So what would you say if you were to define home? What does it mean to you?
I would say a place to gather where people feel loved and cared for. And it was kind of neat thinking about, I listened to a couple of y'all's podcasts and just thinking about my home in relation to hospitality. And I'm definitely not a designer. Like, I care what my spaces look like, but, I couldn't go into someone else's house and design their house or something. But when I moved into this house, when we were looking for a house, I remember standing in the foyer and thinking, I feel like I could have a lot of people in here comfortably. And that was like a high priority for me, to be able to fit a lot of people into the house. And it's actually like not that large of a house, but and it's built in the 70s, so it's got like separate rooms instead of like the open floor plan.
Mm-hmm.
But we have had like 60, 70 people in this house for parties with we work with the young, like young adults, like 20s and 30 somethings at our church that are single and young married. And so, so it's just important for me to be able to fill it up and love on people here. And, you know, I find myself sometimes being like, you know, saying the old thing like your mom used to say, oh, you know, don't look in that corner, it's a mess.
Right.
But I try not to do that. Like, I try just to, this is us, this is real. The other day, the gal I was mentoring came over here, and I literally had pulled every single toy in our house into my dining room, like out of bedrooms, closets, toy bins, everything. And I was purging, like going through and trying to limit us down. I wanted to fit everything into one toy closet in our den and then one major toy in each kid room, like kind of keeping the more classic toys.
Right.
Anyway, so the house was like, I mean, like it had exploded. And so, and she came over for dinner, and I was like, hey, you want to come and search for some toys?
Right. Take whatever you want.
It's like a store in here.
Yeah, so she ended up getting a bunch of little kid books and baby toys that I was, you know, purging. And so it was kind of funny because it was actually to her advantage that my house was completely in shambles when she came over. But I think it's important that people feel like they can stop by your house. We have a really great neighborhood and a lot of great relationships in this neighborhood. And I just don't want to keep people out because my house is not clean and neat all the time. And so
that's so hard for us as women.
Yes.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Well, and you know what else, Rachel? I think for people listening who are so worried about letting people come in their house because they want it to look a certain way or whatever, the encouragement is if you have been with people who maybe have not had a safe home or you just like a soft place to land that they could call their own, they are so happy to come into your house that is a safe place.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, we're so tied up in trying to make it perfect when really they just want somebody to welcome them in, give them a hug, talk to them.
Hear their story. Tell them your story, and to be a place that people feel like they can be fully known and loved. And, I mean, we all desire that, right?
Right.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, it was the first time, one of the girls I mentor is Hispanic, and the first time she came over, it was kind of like last minute, and all I had in the house to cook were tacos. Well, this girl knows how to cook some tacos.
Right,
and what I cooked was the American and not good version, you know, like
in the box
version of tacos. Yeah. And she was so sweet. She was like, it tastes like Taco Bell. It's good. And I'm like, and then like 2 weeks later, after our Bible study, I was like, hey, can I take you to dinner so we can hang out a little longer? And she was like, yes, and I'll take you where there's really good
not Taco Bell.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so
we went to this amazing hole-in-the-wall taco place, and I am like drooling just thinking about it now. Love to go.
And it's close to lunchtime, so.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, so I know you said that y'all have 6 kids, 2 who have special needs, a new dog, and then you've got these moms and their babies coming in and out. So it's probably a little crazy. But how would you describe the atmosphere of your home?
I would say that it is, I think it's comfortable. I think that's probably a good word for it. I try to have just spaces where people can sit and cuddle up with a blanket. We have lots of throws laying around and pillows and, access to toys for the kids and things like that, just to make a comfortable space for us to be together and be with others. And we have a really big yard, and when it's not raining like all the time like it has been, we spend a lot of time in the backyard. We have lights up in the trees and just sit out on our deck and let the kids run around and things like that. So a place where people can land.
So is there any part of your house that you would want to change right now?
Yes, our house was built in the 70s, and all our bathrooms are original. So I would love to redo our bathrooms. And we've made a lot of changes. It's a 2-story white colonial looking black and white shutters. If anyone's interested to see what our house, on my Instagram, I have a hashtag. It's our white house on the hill. So
Okay.
there you have it. If you want to see what our house looks like, you'll see a lot of different rooms and the outside.
Oh, fun.
So, you know, we put in new hardwoods when we got here, and have done various things. We did new countertops and backsplash and things like that. But bathrooms are kind of our next thing that we'd like to conquer. And so my husband is thinking about trying one of them with a friend who knows more than him. So we'll see how that goes. And then if we decide to stay here long term, we'll probably add on actually because we love our neighborhood so much that we don't want to leave it. So maybe add on a master downstairs so the kids can have a little more space upstairs. Our kids' bathroom's pretty tiny for 6 teenage bodies. It's okay with 6 tiny bodies right now, but
that changes things, doesn't it? When they get big.
Luckily, we have a lot of equity in the house because we bought it for a really great price. So that helps with those sort of things eventually happening. But
yeah, for sure.
So on the dream list, I'm a visual person, so I can't have things like look horrible. But I don't want to be controlled by that. Like having, like at some point I just said, I'm not going to do new things, you know, like I'm going to stop decorating, and maybe in a year or 2, I can reevaluate this area. You know what I mean? Like, because it can just keep going and going and going.
It can be so consuming, and it's ever changing. And so there's always like this discontentment of, oh, but I saw this and I love it so much. And it's just
like
a rat
when
race.
I moved to this house, I was like, white was just coming, you know, like everyone was doing everything white. And I picked a white that I thought was a bright white, but it really wasn't. It was more of a cream. But I really couldn't see that till it was on the wall. And that has always bothered me. But I'm like, you know what? White's going to be out in like 1 more year.
That's right. Right.
I wouldn't want to put color. Like my old house had like different colors.
Right, in every room.
Right. And gray is sort of in now anyway, but it wouldn't work so well in my house.
Yeah.
I still might repaint all white when it's time to repaint. But guess what? White walls and 6 kids.
Yes, on the long list.
That's right.
Since there are some things you want to change, but what are some things that you love in your house right now?
Well, I love our kitchen. Our kitchen is kind of unique. It has a fireplace in it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we have a fireplace in our den and in our kitchen. And so it's not a huge kitchen. Like it has the little, you know, like that perfect triangle of work, you know, that they talk about, like the refrigerator, the sink, and the oven. So there's enough space to make it work because I'm not like an amazing chef, so I'm not crazy about that. But then it has a big eating kitchen area and a fireplace. So it's really cozy. Like people, whenever they come to my house, they say, I love your kitchen. And they said that before we had granite countertops and a pretty backsplash.
Yes.
Because I think it just feels like that fireplace really makes it so cozy. And so we have it's set for gas fireplace. So we have it going every morning and afternoon. Even like when I do dishes in the evening, I'm like, if I turn on the fireplace, it makes me happier.
Right. It doesn't feel like such a chore. And for the room that's considered the heart of your home, that's awesome to have in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, we want to be mindful of your time because you're on your way to a date with your honey for lunch. But can you tell our listeners where they can find you on the internet?
Absolutely. Okay, so www.rachbaxter.com because Rachel was already taken. So,
so there's another one.
Baxter. And then on Instagram, I am Make Something Beautiful. And that's the name I made up when Instagram first started, like lots of years ago, and it was from a song that I loved about how God is making our messes into something beautiful. And so it's kind of been a theme, I think, in what I write and put out on both my blog and on Instagram. So that's where they can find me and check out my house with our hashtag. So
yeah.
But I love what you guys are doing. I think this is just such a unique spin on design and home decor stuff, that the heart kind of behind it. So I love it.
Thank you so much, Rachel. That is so encouraging to us. Yes, thank you for saying that.
I'm going to go write a review because
thank you.
Subscribe and write a review.
Yes, thank you, Rachel.
Yes, podcast listeners. And all of you can do the same thing.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And we do hope that it's an encouragement to people who are listening. That's definitely our heart behind it. Yes, for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
and we appreciate your heart and what you're doing and what you're using your home for. And I do think that it is glorifying to the Lord and also drawing people to Him. And it's really beautiful. And so I think it's cool that God gave you that name, even when you didn't know what the next years were going to bring, but that He was making something beautiful and is continuing to do that through you and through your home. Absolutely. So.
Thank you, ladies. I so appreciate it.
Yes. Enjoy your date with your honey. Great to meet you.
Woohoo!
It is so inspiring to hear Rachel talking about what she's doing in her community and really digging in.
Yes. Well, when you hear someone who has 6 kids, 2 of them have Down syndrome.
Right.
She has a new dog. Mm-hmm. And she's not just like kind of volunteering on the outskirts. Like she is involved. Like she is in it.
She has those kids, those young teens in her home, and she's loving them and inviting them into her life. And I just think it's super inspiring because we can all think, I'm too busy. I don't have time. I don't have the resources. Yeah. And we did talk last week about there being seasons. Right. But, you know, if you are permanently in a season where you feel like you can't let other people in, like that's when I think you have to step back and go like, okay. I need to reevaluate. Yep. Right. So. We were a little short on time during that interview, so we weren't able to do Love It or Leave It with Rachel. So we're going to do it with each other right now at midnight. At midnight, we're going to Love It or Leave It with you guys. So. Yes. So, April, Valentine's Day, love it or leave it? I'm going to say leave it, only because we got engaged on the day after Valentine's Day, and so that's kind of our day to celebrate. Mm-hmm. I've always made a big deal about Valentine's Day with my kids, but this year I really dropped the ball. So I'm leaving it this year. Me too. I'm leaving it as in I'm hoping my kids don't know tomorrow's Valentine's Day because they did Friday Valentine's Day at school. Yeah, well, mine know. Yeah, well, mine don't, I don't think. So, anyway. So, normally love it for my babies, but yeah, this year it just didn't happen. I know. Okay, so Hobby Lobby art, love it or leave it? It depends. I will not pretend that there is no Hobby Lobby art in my house, and I will not pretend we've not ever put Hobby Lobby art in other people's houses. However, it can go very wrong. Mm-hmm. Very wrong. What do you think? I mean, I have some pieces from Hobby Lobby, and I really like them. I think that the thing is that doesn't tell your story for the most part. I mean, like, I have the word gather that I got from Hobby Lobby, and I love it. Right. But for the most part, I say go with things that are a little bit more unique and true to yourself. Right. I will also say that when we get Hobby Lobby stuff, we both are like, I hope no one knows it came from Hobby Lobby. So I guess I should say leave it. But it depends on the piece. It depends. Because they do a great job at copying things. And they've gotten much better in the last 3 or 4 years. They have. But across the board, leave it. Yeah, I'd probably leave it. Okay, subway tile. Subway tile, I'm going to say love it. Me too. I know it's been forever. I know that it's one of those things people are like, how long can this possibly be in? But I still love it. I do too. I think it's classic. It's clean. It's clean. It always looks good. Yeah. I like it. Me too. So I'm going to say love it. All right, accent walls. Love it or leave it? Like the wall being painted a color or like a wallpaper? Yes. Well, I don't have any in my house. I don't necessarily love an accent wall that's been painted. I'm digging an accent wall with wallpaper. Right now? Right now. Yeah. I could go either way with this one.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I forgot my last one. Oh my God. Oh, window seats.
Window seats, I love it.
Me too.
Always love it. Lydia is like my bookworm. Any kind of seat by a window, she thrives in that environment. So I'm going to say love it always.
Perfect.
All right. And for you, the last one, electronic reading devices.
Like a Kindle. I'm going to say leave it. We've had a Kindle. To be fair, I never actually read a book on it.
Yeah.
But I've read it on my iPhone. That can be convenient. But for the most part, I like a paper book in my hands. I like to feel it. I like to see where I'm at in the book.
I like to see how much
I like to
have left.
highlight. I like to write notes in the margins. So I'm going to say
the smell
leave
of
it.
a new book.
Yes.
Also, let's not let this die.
I know.
I mean, it's like the magazines. Like, let's just keep some paper things.
Let's keep the library as a thing. I love the library.
Right. So,
leave it.
Leave it.
Yep.
Get a real book.
Okay, guys, so on Thursday, check for our polls. You know we love to see what you want to love or leave.
Yep.
So be thinking of your answers for that. You can find us on Instagram at Nestled Podcasts. You can also find us on our website at poshnestdesigns.com. And as always, here is our shameless plug for a review.
For a review, tell your friends. Thanks for joining us, and we can't wait to see you guys next week and hear from you on Instagram this week.
Bye.
Bye. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.